Yeah, unfortunately you guys kind of missed the last epic speech there for Monster from Hell.
What I was saying there was that I was basically quoting this guy on YouTube whose videos I watch. His name is Andrew Cutter, 22, and I saw his videos about the Teen Titans, so I kind of started reading a bit more Teen Titans stuff, and what he said was true, that the Teen Titans are a family, not a team.
And truly,
like those, like if you love the X-Men comics and you love like the Fantastic Four and stuff, then you should definitely check out Teen Titans because
I definitely think with characters like the Young Avengers and even the Justice League to a certain extent, they are kind of an extended family. I mean, look at the Christmas episode they did for Justice League when they showed Jon Stewart and Hawkgirl going to that bar, or like the Ultra Human Knight and the Flash, just kind of
or John Jones going home with Clark Kent to Smallville.
I mean, going back, and him ended up, portraying Santa Claus, and even I don't know if they showed it or not, but it would have been, but in my mind, Wonder Woman going to Themyscira and actually sharing the tradition of Christmas by giving a wrapped gift to her mother. I mean, these are things that to me are very sentimental. It shows that these heroes are in fact human.
Yeah, and another thing that very similar to that, well, it may not be exactly similar, but back when 9/11 happened, Marvel actually released this big, huge series called, I think it was called Marvel 9/11, where basically everything that happens in that comic is everything that happened in real life.
And I mean, I remember seeing that issue, and just that thing, I swear to you, just seeing Captain America crying at all the lost souls, and seeing just that image of Spider-Man holding that small child from the wreckage, and that child crying and yelling for their mom or their father, seeing Tony Stark just scanning through the wreckage and trying to help get to survivors before they lose oxygen.
Yeah,
I mean, these are things that
Doom sheds a tear. Even Dr. Doom just breaks down and starts.
Even the almighty, even the omnipotent and very evil Dr. Doom, looks at the falling of the Twin Towers, and we actually see for once, that Victor does have a heart, that underneath all of that metallic, cold armor, that Victor Von Doom is still a human being. He's still, he still has emotions.
Yeah, and I was even watching the video when they were talking about that. The guys who wrote that comic, even they got emotional when they started writing that comic.
And I mean,
even they actually had to take a few breaks just to cry a little bit, because some of their relatives were affected in the 9/11 attacks,
And I mean, and I think what also really made it just as good is that DC, I believe, also did their own 9/11 tribute, and they actually even showed, and I doubt this was one thing that presumably they had said was cut out, was that Superman had actually tried to rush to stop both planes from hitting the towers, and he ended up failing, and so they just had this montage of Superman, seeing
one of the few times Superman actually fails to.
And they actually just show it, and they had this beautiful montage where like this little boy just looks at Superman, and Superman just falls to his knees and he just starts crying, and this little kid just hugs Superman, and he's as emotional, and Superman just tells the little kid, I'm sorry, and he just sits there and holds the kid, just embraces him very tightly and just says, I'm so sorry, because that kid had lost his parents in the tower.
Yeah, but all the really sad stuff aside, those comics, while they also portrayed the horrible terrible part of that great event, they also showed the huge amount of strength that came out of it. You know, all these people who are enemies actually put all their differences aside and work together to try to make things better.
And I mean,
and the superheroes, but all of the, you know, the firefighters, the cops, the
firefighters, the cops. I mean, even, you know, and I mean, there's even a great moment when, like, you know, Lex Luthor and his, you know, kryptonite imbued armor is actually, you know, helping clear out rubble with Superman, you know, to try to help, you know, fish for survivors. And it goes to show that even as the evil bullshit tycoon that he is, that Lex Luthor, you know, still, you know, is a patriot, that he's still an American, you know, deep down inside.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think
that doesn't even defy words. That's just self-explanatory.
That says something when the villains even start lending a helping hand. Because even they, as evil as Dr. Doom and as evil as Lex Luthor are, even they aren't nearly as cold-hearted as to do something quite like this.
Exactly. But, I mean, I think...
There's this gorgeous strip panel in the very last page of Marvel 9/11 where all of the superheroes and all of the firefighters and paramedics are just in this large crowd looking up. And they all have these looks on their faces, and these looks are filled like hope and happiness and optimism. That is some powerful shit, and that is why superheroes should be respected more.
And it's like I've always said, and I will always continue to say, and people believe me, some people roll their eyes, but I say, not just with 9/11, but just period, superheroes are needed more than ever. Not because when World War II happened, if characters like Namor, characters like Wonder Woman, characters like Superman, Captain America, if they weren't around, then the morale and the amount of casualties for like World War II, for example, would have skyrocketed. Because when you see a character like Steve Rogers, or you see a character like Wonder Woman, it imbues you, it gives you strength to go, you know, it's like, okay, these are people that have, you know, they're stronger than me, they're faster than me, you know, they are basically a shining example of, in a sense, you know, it's almost like a reflection of how we should be as a society and as people. But then again, you and I, we're not perfect people. We're not Superman, we're not Batman, but we can look at the example that these characters set, and we can go, you know what? We can try to at least attempt to live by the credos that these characters set.
Even the more relatable superhero characters from Marvel, even they admit, you know, even the Marvel superheroes, as relatable as they are and as flawed as they are still superheroes. And even they are people to be looked up to, even though they look up to other superheroes. There's actually, you know that it's just some random guy, dude, who does those Marvel and DC videos?
Mm-hmm.
Those where he gets those
those
superheroes
things
of Spider-Man and Superman. Well, he actually did like a Marvel DC 0 Hour thing where he actually made like a whole sort of pseudo TV series with those figures, and they made like this whole like storyline where apparently Lex Luthor influences all the superheroes to be really dark.